Okie dokie. So on our shadow work and gratitude call this evening, we're going to want to have a pen and paper, unless you're driving. No pen and paper if you're driving. All right, that's right. I love it. Every single call, Mara's at the gym or just leaving the gym. Every single time without failure. It's a proper habit. um, so for our shadow work and gratitude tonight, we're going to be continuing within the emotional pillar. For those of you that are new on our calls with Human Potential Academy, what we do is we focus on the five pillars of human potential: financial, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Financial, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And we're leaning into the emotional pillar for probably the next couple of months. There's a lot of energy that gets kicked up from the emotional pillar. Um, Wherever we direct that is, labeled good or bad, but there's a lot of energy that gets kicked up there regardless. And so last week, what we talked about was the shame game. And I'm going to bring up a little bit of the shame game again here today because it's gonna surface its head at some point in our call. And then on Monday, on the goals and accountability call, we really looked at ourselves and looked at relationships that we've had, and we set some goals around nurturing ourselves and loving ourselves and dating ourselves as if we were someone that we would actually take on a date. Because I'm super guilty of it. I do way more for other people that I'm dating or trying to date than I do for myself, and so then that obviously never ends up that great. So I'm just going to quickly refresh everybody's memory with the shame game real quick here. So for those of you that are seeing this for the first time, just take this in for a moment. We don't need to go too deep into it. We have the past recordings. The shame game down here is pretty much just a denial and rumination, which means overthinking. You're just overthinking, shame, and you get yourself down into a shame loop. Or you're denying reality, and then things don't play out how you thought they were in your denial state, and then you feel some sort of a shame from it. And fear, shame, and guilt tend to be at the forefront of all of our failures or when things go wrong. It's either fear, it's either shame, or it's guilt. And like fear, for example, I've from my observation, I've kind of seen it boiled down into three things, and it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. That pretty much is why people don't do stuff or fail at stuff or whatever, however you want to frame it. It's fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of judgment. And so everyone's taken in the shame game there: rumination, denial, cognitive dissonance. We're going to talk about the four F's, the four fears that are at the root of every single fight that you've had in your relationships. All of them. It can be boiled down to one of or multiple of these four F's. So, everybody, get out your handy dandy notebook, pen and paper. And as usual on the Thursday calls, we're going to have one page which will be useful for you to come back to and reflect on, and then another page where we're just going to kind of do some free journal prompts. So you're going to have two pages tonight: one with info, one where we're just freestyling and journaling. On the one page, let's see, how can I do this? Okay. I know, Brian, you love when I do this. Okay, guys, wish me luck here. All right, we're gonna on our page is gonna look like this, right? So here's our page, and we're gonna break this into four sections. Okay, so it's gonna look like something like this. Boop, boop. Only you can do an even better job than I did. Don't laugh, Jordan. You can laugh. So we're going to break it into these 4 sections. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these 4 sections and we're actually going to break them into 8. Okay. At the top of this section, we're going to write fight. Okay. Right underneath fight, what does it look like? Okay, so in this section of the what does it look like? Is everyone good? Give me thumbs up if we're good. We're following along here. Awesome, good. Okay. Remember, this one is for us to reflect back on, and it's okay if you start playing the shame game while we go through these things. Because if you've ever been in a fight in your relationship, which you've been in a fight with someone in a relationship, you've been in a fight with someone, we've all done it. And we've all said things and done things that we regret that either harmed us or harmed the other person. And when those types of things happen, the shame game arrives, but that's okay. Okay, so what does it look like? I'm not going to write all of these parts down, but I will speak it. Underneath, what does it look like for fight? It looks like yelling / screaming. It's a fight response. So write down yelling / screaming. Underneath, what does it look like? Yelling / screaming. I guess underneath yelling / screaming, we're going to put controlling / demanding. Could be narcissism as well. Same thing. And underneath controlling, we're going to write criticizing. These are the 3 main responses when we're in a fight state. In this next section underneath the fight, right here, the title is going to be what triggers it. What triggers a fight response is feeling alone. Feeling criticized or unworthy. And feeling unsafe.
Have you been talking to my therapist?
Yeah, I got your number. That's fun. Thank you for that, actually. Okay, so and we'll come back, don't worry. Anyone here exhibited the fight response before? Let's raise our hands. Yeah, everybody. Yep. Okay. And let's and remember, the community, this is all about shares. This isn't just meant for me to lecture, although today is going to be more information heavy. Now, out of those triggers, if you want to, of course, please share in the comments on the chat box. What do you think of those 3 triggers was the primary trigger for you? Mine's really easy. It's feeling alone / abandoned. If you guys have been on these calls, you know by now that that's my thing. Feeling alone / abandoned. So I fight. Run. Feeling unworthy, feeling criticized. Yep, no pressure to share, but we appreciate it. Not good enough. Yep, unworthy. Criticized. Being unworthy to an extent that it's being used. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, taken for granted. Feeling alone and or betrayed, feeling unworthy and questioned. So thank you so much, guys. We always say vulnerability is the currency of relationships. And so thank you for your investment in our relationship and in our container here. We're going to move on to the next one, which can anyone guess what they think the next one is? First one's fight. Second one is, anyone want to take a guess? You can
Flight.
use flight. Good job, Mara. Yeah. Okay, so this is neither good news nor bad news, but it is news. And the news is that all of these are learnt in childhood. So you learnt these in childhood, mostly from parents, siblings, friends, school, mostly parents. And they show up in our romantic relationships because that is our experience of love as a child. And then when we go into a relationship in the future, our brain goes, oh, I know how to do that. When I was with my mom, she made me feel unworthy and I had to fight. So that's what love is. So I'm going to enter in this relationship and I'm going to fight because that's what love is. And so with awareness, we always bring this back to awareness. We're able to catch ourselves in our autopilot. Okay, so write flight at the top of your page. The pick another box. I'm gonna do this one over here. All right, and underneath it, what does it look like? Top of this list is avoiding/withdrawing from conflict. Avoiding conflict. Sweep under rug, never deal with it. The next one is hiding or being secretive. This is a sign of someone that will exhibit a flight response if you're in a relationship with them, or if you're in a relationship and you're hiding and being secretive, it's likely that you're going to avoid tough times when the tough times appear.
Mm.
Next one is overthinking. Think. So much think. Run away. And finally, the next one, and this one's not talked about enough, is distractions, especially what I call productive escapism, such as I'm going to go to the gym instead of face my emotions. I'm going to work on my business instead of face my emotions. I'm going to take care of the kids, cook some food. I'm going to go do something instead of face the reality with the emotions. This is all in the flight response. Okay.
Feeling very this one.
Was that feeling very targeted right now? We've all got it. When these four things, this isn't everyone. These are everyone conversations. Okay. What triggers it? Again, not feeling worthy. Fear of conflict, aka conflict was terrifying when you were a child. Your dad was terrifying, your mom was terrifying, whatever sort of conflict you got in with your parent, it was terrifying. And now
Yeah.
in relationships, you're like, that's not for me. That whole conflict thing, not for me. So I'm just going to not do anything about it. And feeling controlled, the last one. Anyone been in a relationship where someone doesn't like them to do the things that they love to do, and then you end up like sacrificing yourself within the confines of that relationship to a person that loves you, that you love? Anyone done that? I've done it twice. Sacrificed yourself, allowed yourself to be controlled. Yep. Yeah, Brandon. Yep. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, boundaries, Jordan, because next week we are going to be going over the solutions to all these problems. So this week, I'm just going to expose you guys to problems. You can live your week going, oh my God, the problems. I'm just kidding, kind of. And then next week, we're going to really be going over proper boundaries, how to set them, how to manage them, how to avoid guilt and shame while we're setting boundaries. So you're not going to want to miss that one next week. Like that, just dangling the carrot for you guys. Here's the problem. If you want the solution next week. Okay. Again, people here with flight, raise your hands. Ever done those things? Withdraw it into conflict, productive escapism. If I had 3 hands, you'd see the 3rd hand going up. And for this one, what do you think triggered it? What's your primary trigger? So for me, mine's feeling unsafe. Overthinking, yeah. Think my way out of the problem. Yeah. Oh my goodness. You must be Filipino. I really hope you are. Okay, good. Yes, the joke is funny then. The rejections, yet I went into them hard. Yeah. Yeah. Inside joke with yourself. Love it. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Feeling controlled, shamed for my own choices. Yeah. Denial, shame loop. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate these shares. Not feeling worthy, feeling controlled. Yeah. Very typical in a lot of cultures. Especially when we're youth, especially when we're youthful women. A lot of cultures, the parents are like, no, it's dangerous and everything, and oh my God. And then they grow up avoiding relationships. Yeah. Okay, so we've done fight, we've done flight. Anyone want to guess the 3rd one? Ooh, I bet you.
Freeze.
Freeze. Mara's got freeze. All right. Freeze response. Okay, so something really interesting happens with the freeze response. Fight and flight, and we'll get into this later when we're getting deeper into the science-y, but fight and flight are both a sympathetic response. It's both a, oh my God, I'm gonna do something. It's either I'm gonna go at or I'm gonna go away from whatever this problem is. I'm gonna go at it, I'm gonna go away from it. Freeze is when we feel unable to do either of those things. If I go at it, I'm gonna get destroyed. If I go away from it, I'm gonna get destroyed. And so you can see this a lot in cases with like Stockholm syndrome, where people become addicted to their abuser pretty much. They're afraid to run away, they're going to get killed. They're afraid to run at it, they're going to get killed. And so, that's dramatic, eh? Oh my God. And so, so freeze. And then that's right. What does it look like? Freeze looks like shutting down / numbing. A lot of times you can see like a flight freeze response with a lot of drug addicts. Flight freeze, run away, numb, shut down, numb. Another, if you're in a freeze state, unable to make decisions, like overthinking to the next level, just cannot make a decision. And brain fog, memory's gone, can't remember why you went into a room. Not necessarily the same as going to the fridge during a commercial. That's a little different. And like spacing out, like you're just kind of like a space cadet. I've caught myself in freeze response before in a relationship when I was trying to study. I'd like read a paragraph and then like, oh, not even one word of that paragraph got registered in my mind right now.
That happens to me a lot, suffering with that.
So that's a freeze state. Anhedonia, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, exactly. Disassociation, exactly. And in response to that, the disassociation, why do we dissociate? It's because what triggers it? Unable to fight or flight. So we dissociate because our thought process in our mind is like, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't, so I'm not going to do either. And you dissociate from your reality, but which isn't actually a real thing. What triggers it? Feeling overwhelmed, feeling trapped / helpless. So of course, this can surface in relationships quite a lot. Um, you know, there's more fish in the sea, right? Yeah, easy for you to say, right? Person that's saying that to me right now. But we've all gone through it. We've all gone through some sort of heartbreak where we're like, no, that was it. That was my only. That was and now I feel like helpless and trapped. Or you're in a relationship with the person that you think is your one and only, and they're controlling you, and you don't want to be controlled, but you love them, and oh my god, all these things. And then you just dissociate, and you just turn to drugs, turn to sex, turn to all the things that allow us to dissociate from our short-term reality that we're living in. Anyone exhibited any of these freeze responses? Shutting down. Mara's like shutting down, numbing, unable to make decisions, brain fog. I've been there too. I've certainly been there too. And yeah, as we've been doing it, would love to hear the oh, I saw you were still scribbling there, Mara. I'll bring that back up for you. What do you think is your primary trigger that leads you into freeze response state? Mine's definitely unable to fight or flight.
I find this so interesting because, like, literally prior to Brian's conversation the other day, where he talked a bit about these four things, I literally didn't know freeze or the next one existed, and I've battled with like why I'm reacting. Like, there's like this missing piece that I've been like, I'm not fighting, I'm not flight. I'm this other thing that I literally can't like home in on, and I can't fix because I don't know what the hell it is. And so it's just so interesting. This just hearing this freeze idea is just hitting home like harder than anything ever before, because it's just like, fuck, that's the thing. Like, I'm so fucking trapped, and I don't know why I feel like there's no other third thing that's like the thing that matches how I feel. And so it's just really cool, and then definitely something I'm going to dig a lot more into, because it's something I didn't even know existed. I literally didn't know it existed, so it's cool.
Wait until you see the next one, brother. Does anyone know what the next one is? A lot of people don't know about the fourth one. We've got fight, we've got flight, we've got freeze. Anyone know about the fourth one? Kind of like a secreted one. No one knows about this one.
Fawn, right?
That's right. It's called fawn.
Brian taught us that.
Flight, freeze, and the fawn response. What does it look like? Top of that list, people pleasing. So the people pleasing aspect of this is there's a threat, right? And we either fight the threat or flight from the threat. And if we can't do either of those, we freeze in the threat. The fawn response is I'm going to soothe the threat. I'm going to soothe the threat with food or sex or hugs or compliments or whatever it is. Sorry, I'm laughing at Mara with the. I know, I'm sorry. I appreciate you. I love you. I do that all the time too. Their smoke detector's going off. I've been there so many times. Okay, what does it look like? The fawn response. This is the caretaker. We're going to be running a codependency webinar coming up. And if you catch yourself in the caretaker position, it's likely you are suffering from the fawn response, which essentially means you're the savior or the rescuer of this certain person that you're with. But this could be called caretaking / you're the caretaker / the enabler. Enabling behaviors that you don't like. Fawn, unable to set boundaries, which again, you heard us say it here today. This is what next week is going to largely be about. Unable to set boundaries, which leads to them abandoning themselves.
Mm.
What triggers the fawn response? More people are in fawn than they realize right now in this day and age. Way more people are in fawn. Feeling guilty triggers the fawn response. And fear of abandonment. Also fear of conflict. You don't want to fire your person up and invoke a fight response, right? Okay, so now that we've all gone into there, in our in the chat box, let's pick two. What are your top two? Top two responses. Mine are the classic.
Sorry, Matt, what was your question? I was doing damage control.
Which two do you think have the strongest grip on you when you're in a relationship?
Okay, thanks.
Wait, I never been in a relationship, so I can't really answer that one specifically. But personally, that's how I feel like, being like fun for almost everything in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. That's it's usually one of those things that comes up. Like how you do one thing is how you tend to do everything. Flight and fawn, fight and fawn. Freeze and flight, fight and flight, fawn. Yeah. Not a lot of fighters. Oh, Mara's a fighter. Fight and fawn. Freeze and flight. So what we want to always do with these things is because when we enter into like spiritual awareness, which is really just like actualizing personal development, becoming the best version of ourselves, living up to something that's higher than we are, it involves awareness. And it involves awareness to all of the parts of us that aren't godly, right? And when we look at those parts, usually the next thing that follows is shame. And so then we go into this rumination, denial, toxic shame game. And so what's really important for us to do is recognize that the seed of spirituality and religion, the seed, first step, number one, awareness. Right? Awareness. It's the first thing they make you do in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Proclaim your awareness to the situation that's at hand right now. And so awareness is step one. Okay, but aware to what? Well, aware to all of these things that you're doing, right? Aware to your freeze and flight response and seeing how you're not only sacrificing yourself, but you are sacrificing the very relationship that you're trying to keep. And usually with awareness comes accountability. It must. And so when we're looking at these things on this piece of paper right now, and we can see that, oh yeah, I have done that, and that has caused me to sacrifice myself, that has caused me to attack the person that I love, that has caused me to run away from those tough conversations that I needed to have for that relationship to actually work. We can feel shame. That's why we call this shadow work, Jordan. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is the shadow work. And so what we need to do is we need to flip the script on this. So yes, we bring awareness. Yes, we bring accountability. But then instead of, oh my goodness, I did this fight thing and I said that nasty thing to that person. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just freeze up. I'm so weak. I just fawn over this person. I'm such a weakling. I sacrifice myself. Instead of having that type of a conversation with ourselves, we recognize, just like at the beginning of this conversation, that all of these were learned in childhood. These were learned in childhood to protect you. So if someone that loved you was trying to protect you, would you be upset at that person for trying to protect you? Anyone? Anyone be upset at someone that they love trying to protect them from harm? Jordan's like, yeah. You'd be upset if someone was trying to protect you. Interesting. Okay. It's interesting.
I believe, can I just interrupt for a sec here?
Yeah, totally.
I believe that there are certain situations where your own like perceived and perspective will have your own structure to what you believe that person should probably or could do, but it doesn't take away from what that person is doing. So I can understand why someone, if they were leaning on towards the negative side, they would get angry about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the shadow work. That is the shadow work. Exactly. Yeah. So you're like well on the path there. And so like if someone was coming to attack someone that you loved and then you defended them and then that person got mad at you, would you be like, what the heck? I was trying to protect you, right? Because I love you. And that's what all of these things are. They're just mechanisms to protect us. And so the script that Brian and I always have, and then I'll pass it over to you, Brian, is for us to thank these things. So when we engage in the fight response or the flight, freeze, fawn, we actually should thank it, have gratitude for it, because it's there to protect you. It's misguided in its methods, right? Its methods aren't like what we desire, but the purpose, the intention that these emotions and actions have is to actually protect us. And so now we can bring awareness and actually move in a way that is like I thank you, fight response. I see you. I get that you want me to be heard and I'm feeling unseen. That's okay. But what can I do to actually go about this differently? And that's what we're going to be talking about next week. Boundaries and strategies for the fight response people, how to actually navigate this for the fawn response people, how to set those boundaries. And so, yeah, I want to thank everybody. I'm going to pass this off to Brian now. Thanks for hearing me out tonight on my highly informative chat. Appreciate that.
Sweet, thanks, Matt. I'll guide us through like a little gratitude practice here in a sec, but it's just two things just to riff kind of on what Matt said, that point of like, it's just the idea that there's a part of you that has an old role that's not serving you anymore, right? You know, it's like, think of a mechanic that's like not fixing the car anymore. It's like, we don't say there's something wrong with you. We just say, you need to have a different job. That job's not serving us anymore. So that's like the way I like to think about it. Because if we take these parts of ourselves, like say the part that's fighting or flying or whatever, it's doing this, if we say, what's wrong with you? Then you hold a belief that there's something inherently wrong with you, and there's not. There's nothing inherently wrong with you. So the flipping of the script is saying there's nothing wrong with me, but there are parts of me that are doing jobs that are hurting me and that are sabotaging me, because you may have not connected to that part in a very long time. And like Matt said, it's formed in childhood most of the time. It's formed a long time ago. And if you haven't visited that neurochemical process, because what your inner child is like it's a combination of body chemistry that's running. And if you don't if you don't redefine that chemistry, it's just going to keep running the show. So that's what we're doing here. There's nothing wrong with us, but there are parts that need different jobs. We need to upgrade them. We need to promote them to a different job. So that's what we do. One thing I'm gonna give you guys an action here. Matt mentioned that we have a free webinar coming up with an amazing individual named Dr. Divi. I just dropped this link here. If you guys are getting anything out of these free community calls, or if you want to dive more into the relationship with yourself, or specifically you want to dive into codependency and that kind of stuff, this webinar that we got coming up is going to be, you're going to be really into it. So I'd encourage you guys to just like go to that link even just right now, just put your name, put your email, sign up for it, because it's absolutely free. And we're doing, you can see on the link there, we're doing 2 more. There's one about trauma bonds, and I can't remember what was the last one, Matt. It's like the cycles of trust and intimacy. So these are like pretty big topics, right? Codependency, safety and intimacy, and trauma bonding. So if you guys want to dive into those subjects, again, these webinars are free. We're doing it with an individual named Dr. Divi. She's super, super awesome. She's like a spiritual surgeon. She's got all these amazing tricks and tips. So yeah, if you guys go to that link right there and jump on, you'll get a lot out of that. But let's finish this off with our 3 minutes here with a little gratitude practice. I'm going to guide you guys through a very short, a very short yoga nidra. So if you can, lay down. And if you need to go right at the time, you can. I'll go a little bit over, but if you need to go right at the hour, then just go at the hour. It's all good. If you don't know what yoga nidra is, it's really just giving awareness to certain parts of the body. It's giving attention. And attention is really the greatest gift you can give to any process if you want it to change. Yes, you can sit down for this practice too, but laying down will feel the best. And let's see, Matt, do you want to just put on some like nice music in the background, Matt? Nice, like,
you can't hear anymore? I've been listening to it the entire time. Oh my goodness.
We're back. Okay, cool. So I will guide you guys through some breathing first because it helps you connect to the body, and then we'll just do a little bit of awareness. So wherever you are right now, just close your eyes, shut down your eyes. If you're sitting down, get comfortable in your seat. Take a few movements to get comfortable. If you're laying down, just allow yourself to receive whatever's supporting you. We'll do a bit of breathing together again, just to get into the sensation of our body. The rhythm of breathing helps us to get inside the emotional body, inside the current of sensation that's moving through. So we're just going to do a 4 count in and a 4 count out for a few rounds just to get us connected to that. So I invite you first to take a nice deep breath in all the way up. Exhale, let it go. And then let's breathe together. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, out, in, out, in, out. And you can just keep that rhythm going now that you kind of have a sense of it. If it ends up being a bit longer or a bit shorter, that's fine. Just try to keep a little connection to your breath. Now, as we go through this practice, before we do it, I want to make a distinction between intention and attention. In the way of the Taoist philosophy, they believe that intention requires energy. It's something that we want to change. Attention is applying our awareness to something, and it nurtures it, it feeds it. It's a yin energy, it's a soft energy. So as you go through these body parts, give yourself attention, meaning if you notice tightness, if you notice discomfort, whatever you notice in those body parts, don't try to change it, just give it attention. Attention is nurturing, and with enough attention, processes will change. So continue your breathing, keeping your eyes closed first. Just bring into your heart, into your belly, into your body, the sensation of gratitude. It'll help to think of someone or something that you're really grateful for, like someone you really love, or maybe a moment in your life that you're really grateful for that just brings you that deep sense of appreciation. Just notice how that feeling starts to rise up in your body, starts to feel nice. The body starts to create a cascade of neurochemical messengers that it recognizes as love and gratitude. And just breathe into that, let it be felt. Kind of like a silk blanket that's starting to cover your body. And then we're just going to imagine offering that gratitude through the practice of attention to different parts of the body. And usually I'd go very specific, but we're going to go more broad here just for the brevity's sake. So first, bring that gratitude, that awareness to your feet and your ankles. All you have to do is just feel that part of your body, just notice. And if you can, offer a bit of appreciation, thanking your feet for how they support you, taking so many steps day in and day out. Even put a little upwards tilt on each corner of your mouth. And start to bring your awareness now up into your calves and your knees, and your thighs and your hamstrings, your legs. You can just apply awareness, or you can offer gratitude to those parts of the body. Breathing into the legs, the knees, the calves, all the way into the bones, the femur, the patella. And then again, shifting your attention up into your hips, into your buttocks, to your lower abdomen, this very sacred area, the place of your root center, your sacral center, your sexual center. Just bringing your attention there, noticing, perhaps just offering a bit of gratitude for this place, for no other reason than it being there. And continuing to breathe, and slowly but surely allowing your awareness to climb up into your abdomen, where your stomach is, and your lower back. At the end of your xiphoid process, which is the bottom part of your sternum. Noticing what you feel when your awareness is there. And let's move the awareness up into the chest, to the shoulders, and up into the arms. And finally bringing your awareness up into your head. I'm just going to move along this part a little more quickly. Just now bring your awareness to your whole body, taking a few deep breaths in. And again, if you haven't done so already, just put a little upward smile. It does release a little bit of good feeling hormones. And then when you feel ready, you can gently open the eyes. Thank you all so much for letting me guide you through that. I hope you enjoyed this session. I know Matt has to run here in like 10 seconds. So I will say, love you all very much. Keep showing up for the work. Thank you for doing the work. And again, make sure to join those webinars. They're going to be super juicy. Love you all so very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys. So good to see you. Thank you so much, Brian. Bye, Tatiana. Bye, Magesh. Bye,
Bye.
Ed.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Jordan.
much.
Bye, Brandon. Thanks, everyone. Bye, guys. Thanks, Brian.
Thank
Bye.
you.